Well, this is a surprise. Thank you to our final patrons, Praise the Sun, Strawbones, and Aaron. Now, before we come to this break, psych a lot live reaction to the weirdest chapter of MHA so far by Oceans. Please do me a favor to leave your own thoughts on the video in the comment section down below. Leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, make sure you hit that little notification bell so you miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do a Patreon down below. We can support for as low as $1 a month to get things like exclusive videos, early content, and more. Now, let's hop into the live reaction. What's up, guys? I'm Pencil here, and here we are to do a live reaction to the weirdest chapter of MHA so far by Oceans. The original video will be linked in the comment section down below. Make sure you go check that out. So if you do not want to hear me pause a billion times and talk about what Oceans is going to talk about, go watch the original. It will be linked in the description. Please, if you're new here, I pause a lot. If you're old here, you also know I pause a lot. So obviously, this will not be the most coherent and smoothest playing of the video. Go make sure you check out the original down below. All right, it is time. I don't know. I'm like hyped and excited for this one, mainly because I'm not exactly sure what he's gonna say and what he's gonna talk about, because there's so many things that are weird about the chapter. But I think I know the big thing based off the thumbnail. But let's get right into it.
Well, this is awkward. I'm gonna be
awkward indeed. Awkward indeed. I'm sorry. See, I'm already pausing. This is your warning.
Honest with you, I wasn't expecting to make another My Hero video until the series is over.
Wow. Obviously, I'm assuming he's not talking about like the podcast he does with Mr. Waffles. So, makes sense. And honestly, yeah, considering this is the end of the manga, and the manga's ending soon anyway, if you're gonna make mostly discussion videos about the series, you might as well just wait till the end, unless you're just doing week-by-week reviews. But he does the shonen cast for that, so yeah, it makes sense.
But holy, I really need to talk about this latest chapter because what?
Language.
So, spoiler.
I'm gonna be editing this video. I can already tell. I'm gonna be editing this video a lot.
Sort of My Hero manga, and a warning for a lot of unscripted salt and.
I knew it. I knew it. I figured other people would be salty. To be fair, I'm salty too, but I'm just like, I'm the sweet kind of salty, you know, like I'm sea salt ice cream, literally in and of itself. Like, oh, I do not like it at all. But salt, you know, I like to put that on my French fries or something like that. That's all I got. Mainly because I didn't trust Horikoshi. Go back to my reviews. You know, I didn't trust Horikoshi in the moment Bakugou got bop. Obviously. So, obviously, you know, I'm a little bit giddy. If he really does come back, I'm a little bit giddy because I called that mess because I knew Horikoshi wouldn't do it. But I'm sorry, I'm going off too long. Let's let the video actually
Vinegar?
start.
Because, God, this chapter has me feeling a lot of things and very few of them positive.
Yo, he gonna go crazy. He's gonna go crazy. He said few of them positive. He didn't say some. He didn't say a little. He didn't say a lot. He didn't say half and half. He said few. He has a lot of thoughts. That's crazy. That's nutty. Okay, I'm gonna let him rock.
So, let's just immediately go talk about it. No preamble. Let's go. Right. So, Bakugou died. Everyone clap. That was a pretty cool moment.
Yep. And no one believed it. No one. Unless you were huffing that copium, no one believed that. Like, even the people who were huffing copium, the reason you were huffing copium, because you didn't believe it either. Because it's the deuteragonist of My Hero Academia. The series that has had like 4 separate chances to get rid of Gran Torino, and that boy is still kicking somewhere. Come on now. We knew it wasn't going to happen.
I'm going to be completely honest. I didn't think it was fantastic. I thought that it suffered from the fact that Bakugou had not really gotten a lot of spotlight and that his characterization had been a little shoddy for the last tens of chapters. But
I can agree with that, definitely. It feels like, once again, a big thing that you can definitely hear Oceans talk about in his videos, so go check those out. Especially, I'm sorry, I watch pretty much all of Ocean's videos, but the main ones I like to listen to whenever I'm like drawing or doing other side work is the MHA reviews he does with IanWaffles. I'll probably link his, I'll definitely link his channel in the description too. Both great content creators. Go check out both of their content. If you, once again, I always say this whenever I talk about people who are bigger than me, whenever I do these reactions, if you somehow found me, but you haven't found Oceans or IanWaffles, it seems a little the probability seems a little bit off to me, but if you did, go check them out. They're great. If you enjoy anything of my content, their content's even better. But one of the main things they talk about is, at least in their general arc reviews, is the issue that Horikoshi has when it comes to, like, especially as of recent, the checklist feeling, like the idea that he's just like he's just getting things done because he has to get them done. Like, there's no storytelling merit behind it. And thusly, what was likely in Horikoshi's notes is Bakugou has false death moment. Like, we didn't have any time with Bakugou. We didn't really talk about Bakugou beforehand. He just had this super massive tank thing, got one shot, got up, got one shot again, and then got up once more time, and then got one shot one more time. Like, that's it. And obviously, a big thing that Oceans has mentioned, I forget in which one it was. I think it was... Just go watch them for yourself. I can't remember this on my head, but a big thing that Oceans mentioned in one of his videos is how Bakugou's characterization has been, like, advancing yet stagnant in terms of his base personality. Like, he has learned and developed and grown. Like, he's even, like I said, the reason I didn't want Bakugou to come back is because I felt like he hit the peak of his character. But the thing is, one of Ocean's biggest issues, and now that's become an issue of mine as I go to just reread stuff on occasion. Yeah, Bakugou, you'd be hard pressed to tell that, except for in moments where Horikoshi specifically wants to tell that. His base demeanor is still exactly the same. So overall, his characterization feels a little bit wishy-washy, depending on what Horikoshi's talking about. And obviously, just jumping to off on the boy seems a little bit strange when you seemingly haven't even finalized his character. It's like if Uraraka were to suddenly get slurped up by Toga out of nowhere. It just feels like, okay, you did it because you had to, I guess. But one, we don't believe it, and two, why? So I see what he's talking about there.
Nonetheless, this was a pretty cool moment and a sweet send-off to the character, of course.
Yeah, I do like the whole, man, I really wanted an autograph. And then you just see him splayed out on the ground. That's pretty dark.
The moment a character dies in a shonen battle manga, you immediately start asking, how is he gonna get back? Because unless we see the body literally disintegrate, they're not really dead.
And even then, you can see a body literally disintegrate. Is that spoilers? Spoilers for the Dragon Ball Super manga. Skip like 30 seconds ahead. Look at 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Spoilers. Look at Mirrors. We saw bro literally fade out of existence and he still came back. Never trust a shonen. Never, ever, ever trust a shonen. Unless it's Chainsaw Man. I would say Jujutsu Kaisen too, but I should have said more spoilers. I'm sorry. I'm going to blank out that audio, but there. I'm sorry, I caught myself off guard. So I'm caught up on the JJK manga, so I kind of just let things slip.
But considering we are at the end of the story now, this being the final arc, people had hope, and even I had a little hope. Maybe this
in like one of my favorite things about Oceans is like he, for the longest time, but I think mainly before the series was announced it was ending, like you can even hear the enthusiasm he has in early conversations he had with IanWaffles about like the series. Like, oh, there's still hope, there's still a light in the darkness, there's still a chance for here because we have more time. Obviously. And My Hero Academia, before Horikoshi said it was ending, even with the end of the war arc, you couldn't tell me that the story was ending anytime soon. If anything, I thought we were going to be at a midpoint and we were going to get a time skip and the thing was going to go on for at least like 5 more years. But no, Horikoshi's trying to end right now. One of the biggest things about Ocean is that he was very, very positive about the series. He even changed my perspective on the series. The reason you don't necessarily hear me complain about side characters so much anymore in MHA is because of Oceans. Straight up. Like, if you check out my old reviews, you can see how much I was like, worthless character, worthless character, worthless character. But I've come to understand and appreciate certain things differently now because of a different perspective that he brought. But now even he is feeling despair. And that hurts. But, you know, it'd be like that when it be like that sometimes. When you're in despair, you're in despair. It happens to the best of us.
Be a really cool send-off to one of the most important and popular characters of the manga.
Big facts, just like the big facts that the like button, free souls, and subscribe button. So please hit those. Thank you. But yeah, once again, like I said, in my live reaction, go check that out if you want to, or remember if you did check it out. I just don't know what you would do with Bakugou now. His journey's over, and we're at the end of the series. So what's the point of keeping him alive? But
so on a base level, it is already disappointing that, in case you didn't know, Bakugou is most likely getting revived. We don't know if it's actually going to work out. I'm going to talk about it later.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. I called the live reaction My Disney Academia because it's Horikoshi. But like, who knows? It could fail. Like, reasonably, if you ask me, Ninja Man goes into Cadaver and makes new heart with Threadman, I would have a couple questions, but I'd probably assume My Hero Academia. So I think it would work. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if it worked, but I'd be happy if it failed. So I'm gonna say.
But he is supposedly coming back, and by itself, that is already kind of because
there's nothing else for him to do. Like, if I'm just gonna take a guess at what Ocean's gonna say, there's nothing left. There's nothing. His character journey, he had a beautiful death, he had everything, and he can't become any more narratively relevant without snapping the narrative over his knee. Like, Horikoshi, in my opinion, has already sacrificed a lot of what made My Hero Academia very, very interesting, just due to, like, my biggest thing is the main dynamic being absolutely destroyed with the revival of All For One, and no matter what Horikoshi's doing with this whole, All For One's gonna destroy himself, yeah, okay, I don't care, it's too late. But with that being established, there's nothing left for Bakugou. There's nothing left for Bakugou unless you break the narrative. He's already had, like, 2 quirk awakenings. He's already done nothing twice. He's not the main character. What's the point of bringing him back when you're ending your manga and his entire journey was about the whole narrative heft of the series is how all men are not created equal. Bakugou used to be the guy that was on top. Now he's got put on the bottom because he wasn't created equal. Midoriya is that guy. That's it. Long story short, that's it. So what's the point of bringing Bakugou back other than to have him reiterate, like, oh yeah, Midoriya, you're better than me. We already got that. We already know. It's too late. We already, for all my Dragon Ball fans, we already had the Buu Saga Vegeta moment. We already saw Midoriya fighting Kid Buu. We know Bakugou admits that he's lesser. There's no point in bringing him back. But we'll see what Ocean is to say.
Why bother killing someone off if you're just going to bring him back? Why?
Yeah, that too. That too. Like, what's the point? Oh, I get it. False stakes. Blow the internet up for a little bit. Get some more read-throughs on the chapter. I get the meta reasoning behind it. Let's
bother killing a character that you've already fake out killed once again.
Gotta get that bread up. Gotta get your money up. Get your money up, Oceans. Come on, think about it. Get your money up. You quote unquote slaughter the Deuteragonist. Of course the whole internet's gonna explode. I still remember when that chapter came out and I laughed. Because I didn't believe it. Because I didn't believe it. But I'm assuming that's the main reason why Hori would do it. Because it's Bakugou. He's Baku boy. You can't get rid of him.
Like, I'm just trying to figure out the thought process here and how this would further work within the story. Because at this point, you have completely destroyed any sort of stakes, any sort of seriousness when it comes to the mortality of your characters. Because here we have a character who has literally been stabbed, killed, destroyed twice over now, and he's just fine. This doesn't even mention the absolute comedy that is the Super Mario World hospital that can just magic.
Yeah, stupid hospital. Wait, okay. So, and this is another. I feel bad referencing a previous video, but hey, I've said these ideas before, and I don't want to just be like repeating myself without reference. But in my live reaction, a big thing I mentioned is that this doesn't make any sense for a narrative implication. It doesn't make any sense on a stakes standpoint. This absolutely annihilates the narrative weight and any narrative storytelling you're going to do. The only thing it does is get his money up, which is something I didn't mention before, because obviously I'm assuming I'm not Viz. I cannot tell you how many people went and read the chapter or how many people went and freaked out online, but I can tell you just off the My Disney Academia stuff alone from this week, My Academia is up right now. And you know what they say? What is it? I was about to say something. Of course I would forget this very simple phrase. All attention is good attention, or like all publicity is good publicity. It doesn't matter. So the fact that everyone and their mom is talking about My Hero Academia and how stupid it is means the series is doing good, at least in terms of talking points, at least in terms of how much is being discussed, at least in terms of how well it's doing on the internet. That's the only reason you would do this, because it doesn't add anything to your narrative. It's not going to add anything to the characters, and it destroys whatever stakes you did have, like Oceans is saying. So I can only see this working on a meta front, but any other front is non-existent, like remotely valid at all, because there's no justifying this. Why else would you do this? We ain't even going to talk about the Magic Hospital that he's about to get into, but seriously, I can't think of any other feasible reason why one would do this, unless you just wanted to get your ratings up. And by ratings, I mean like talking. That's all I got.
Keep people alive despite having huge stomach wounds that would have killed people earlier in the series, but that's just an aside. And I know, people have already been saying, why did you think he was dead? This is just a shonen manga, you should know better. And on one hand, yeah, I guess, but on the other hand, is it really that wrong of me to expect better? Especially of a series...
You expect better. It's true, especially, and the crazy thing is, right, it's a two-way street, right? Like, you're either disappointed that he's coming back, and people ask you, why are you surprised? It's shonen manga, you shouldn't expect anything. But one, we have multiple other shonen that have, bang, other characters permanently. I think, at least, some of them are off-screen, though. Some of them are off-screen, I will admit. But I think pretty much every single one in the big three has a major death for a character on the good side. Like, I know there's one in One Piece, and I haven't even read that yet. I know there's definitely, I mean, you can argue kind of multiple ones in Naruto, but some of those don't count because of reanimation, so I'll give you that. But there's at least one big one that everyone and their mother, people who haven't even watched Naruto, knows about. That's a major character that gets poked. And then, even in Bleach, though admittedly I can't think of one major one on screen, and there is the big one, there's the big revival that happened in Bleach that no one likes. But still, there are characters who do the die in other series that are shonen. Even in Dragon Ball, Grandpa Gohan, rare case, Future Gohan, like people be disappearing permanently. Are there any up to the level of a deuteragonist? No, not yet, not in any of the big three, but in some modern shonen, people be going. Especially modern shonen of MHA's ilk, like things that are commonly in discussion around MHA. It's not afraid to just bang. So really, it's just a shonen isn't an excuse anymore. Unfortunately, there are shonen as old as the big three, as old and as relevant as the big three, and in modern discussion, such as maybe the Dark Trio, that are unafraid to just permanently get rid of characters because it's a good narrative to them. It establishes stakes. It puts worth on. You can't just excuse things with a shonen. It's just a shonen anymore. But even then, even if you go with that side and be like, well, I get it, it's just a shonen, but it's not good. People will say, but it was foreshadowed, but it was set up, it was well effective. No, it wasn't. Who's Edgeshot? Well, no, I guess the biggest thing would be like, it has a cost. Edgeshot's gonna perish. Yeah, okay. I'll ask you the same question I asked in my last video. What's Edgeshot's real name? How many chapters was Edgeshot in? Did you even realize Edgeshot was at the battle? At UA? Did you? Did you really? Who cares? Do you think, and in terms of like real weight here, right? Like, and the thing is, I saw a meme about this, I won't talk about it. But in the same vein that Chio revived Gaara, who do you think on the narrative heft was more important of a sacrifice there? Like, character-wise, who do you think people wanted to see battle more? That's the same thing here. Okay, it has weight. quote unquote, because there's a sacrifice. But not really. I don't know. I still don't buy. Either way, I just see it as bad. And it seems like Ocean sees it as bad too. But we'll see why. Let's hop right back.
That I've loved for so long, and that people for a long time have been calling, you know, something fresh, something new, a series that actually holds itself to a higher standard. And so I would have liked to hold it to a higher standard as well, but I guess I'm wrong for trying to do it when the series actually...
Exactly, right? Like, MHA was not... I can't lie. I'm not gonna lie. Let me just get back into it.
He shits the bed. But oh well, such is life.
Language.
But somehow, the fact, the isolated thing that of Bakugou coming back to life, which in any other series would be the worst thing and the main thing we'd be talking about, is nothing compared to the way they're trying to bring him back, which...
Yeah. It's just, it is... To me, I didn't necessarily... Because in my mind, the big thing that, like, grabbed me by the throat was they're bringing Bakugou back. And the fact that the like button for you is on the subscribe button. But the big thing was that they're bringing Bakugou back. That was the main thing that I latched onto, but I didn't really even go into how stupid this is. But he's about to. And I'll definitely backpack off of him if he misses anything, or I think I could add anything. But yeah, big issue that Bendy Man can suddenly become hard. Because why not?
Has to be one of the dumbest things I've ever read in this entire series, maybe in manga in general.
That's a fact. In manga in general? What's some stupid, like, in terms of revivals? I'm trying to think of, in terms of revivals, what's some stupid, like, I can't call the Dragon Ball stupid. It's what the series is named for. Unfortunately, as much as they destroy stakes, I can't call the Dragon Ball stupid. They're an established thing of the series that does the reviving. It has done the reviving since time immemorial. I'll admit, that's spoilers for the 1,000-Year Blood War arc, though. But for those who have read the 1,000-Year Blood War, I do think there is a pretty dumb thing in there that revives a character. Y'all know what that is. If you know, you know. All right, I won't spoil it. Let's see. I'm thinking of Big Three particularly. I haven't read One Piece, so I can't comment on that. I also think the Hagoromo stuff was stupid. I won't lie to you. I think the Hagoromo stuff was pretty dumb. But then again, there were excuses there that were somewhat established. But even then, I still don't like it. But I can definitely put this up there. Is it the worst? But he does not even say it's the worst. He says one of the worst. Yeah, I can put this up there with them. Definitely, because it's just dumb.
So, in case you haven't read the chapter, here's what is basically happening. Bakugou died because, through his fight with Shigaraki, his heart basically exploded and tore apart. So now he's, well, dead, or dying. We're not completely sure on that either. His heart is stopped because it's in pieces. And Genist is trying to fix it, but he seemingly can't. And out of nowhere, Edgeshot, a character who has been in maybe 20 chapters in total for the entire series, comes around and goes, "Buddy, I will turn myself into string and then affix myself to his heart and fix it and pump it manually for him, therefore becoming his heart, in the process killing or otherwise destroying myself."
Does that even make sense? Does it sound like that makes sense? Strings making up a heart? I logistically, now that he's slowly explaining it out loud, I'm actually confused on how that works. Does he become closed? Is that how Best Jeanist can manipulate him into heart shape? He becomes, like, thin, but he's still a human. How can Best Jeanist... How can he do anything with that? And also, like... Well, his thing is fold body, right? So he can, like... I get... But if he... Is he gonna be still sentient? Like, if he quote-unquote dies here, like, is he just gonna be forever pumping? Like, I don't know. Like, if Aizawa looks at him, will he pop out? I don't know. So many... It is dumb. It is very, very dumb. I didn't even think of it.
Let's leave the actual mechanics of this to the side for a moment, and that's a massive aside, but we'll get to that. And let's just talk about Edgeshot. So...
What is there to talk about? There's nothing about Edgeshot. You said it yourself. They're not. No, I know the point he's leading into here, but I'm gonna just build it up a little bit. Like, who is Edgeshot? Where is Edgeshot? Why is Edgeshot? Who cares about Edgeshot? Edgeshot? Shot Edge. Like, boy's pointless. There's not gonna be much to talk about here. I know. I'm betting the main point is gonna be like, who cares about Edgeshot? This is pointless. But let's see. We'll see.
Why is the guy who's gonna save Bakugou
Language.
this absolute nobody? This guy.
Yup, he's a pointless rando. There's no point. Yes, we're on the same page.
Who has had no backstory, no relevance to the plot, has talked to Bakugou a single time, and has basically been a complete non-entity for the entirety of the story.
Big facts, ginormous, like humongous level facts. Way big level facts, like multiversal level fact. Like, who is he? Why does this matter? Who knows Edgeshot? Why is this random?
My hero has done this before, taking someone who was very much unimportant and throwing them into the limelight and making them important out of nowhere. And that by itself is a cool thing when it is paired with the adequate amount of supportive writing. Think about how he turned Kirishima from a side character into someone who could very well be part of the main cast, because he did this by using elements like backstory, elements like plot relevance, continued popping up in the story, in the narrative, to make him feel more important than he was at the start. Compare that to here with Edgeshot, where, hi, I have never mattered, but I'm here to save the day by myself, and also here's a single panel of my backstory because please be sad and please clap. It feels incredibly disingenuous and kind of bizarre to have this random guy just suddenly be the guy who saves the day. And people have already been saying, and will certainly say under this video, that, oh, but Oceans, My Hero is a story about heroism, about the nobodies that step up and meddle in other people's affairs for no other reason other than they looked like they needed saving. So why are you upset about it now? And the answer to this
is because it's so drastically important here. This isn't just heroism. This is a dude sacrificing his life for a kid that won't do anything. Like, what does Edgeshot reviving Bakugou here mean? What is it? How does this count as heroism? There's a difference between what Midoriya does here in this instance, coming in to save a life. I mean, I get it. I actually do get the rebuttal though. Like, shouldn't we care about the randoms that show up? But the thing is, we learn about the randoms beforehand. Like he brought up with Kirishima. Kirishima is a great example of a random slowly and over time becoming someone we know. Though in the grand context of the world of My Hero Academia, they still are a random person committing an act of heroism. But Edgeshot doesn't get that buildup. It's just you didn't probably see that properly. That was a pen I just threw. That's what Edgeshot is. Instead of a slow journey, a slow crossing of the screen that builds up to this random moment of heroism, he's launched just in the narrative because we need an excuse to say Bakugou. That's all he is. That's all he stands for. That's what makes it weird. Like, it feels bizarre. It feels off, and it doesn't fit into the theme because that isn't how My Hero Academia used to write it. Sure, does it fit into the general theme of nobody saving somebody? Yes. But how it's done, why it's done, and the way it's executed all matter. The theme of the granola arc in Dragon Ball Super, good. The execution of the granola arc in Dragon Ball Super, booty. Like, that's the thing. Execution matters. I guess that would be my main point if I were to rebuttal someone about this theme. Like, and I would bring up previous examples of random, quote-unquote, random acts of heroism in the narrative and how they correlate to this one and how they don't really correlate at all because it's awful. But let's see how Oceans would rebuttal this. Let's take a look.
Is another question. If that theme is really everything that matters, why even bother with Edgeshot? Why should it then not have been a random new unnamed character with a revival ability? Here is John Reviver, who has the ability to bring someone back to life once at the cost of his own life. He comes in, talks about how heroism is about saving others even when you
He took it in a different way. He took it in a very different way. But I like this comparison. That's a good way to do it. That's a very good way to do it.
Don't know them. Bakugou is back alive, and the guy is never mentioned again. If the theme of heroism from nobodies was all that mattered, then you should have no problem with this story beat, right? But you would, because it's unsatisfactory, random, contrived, and most of all, dumb. And that's exactly the category this Edgeshot falls into. It's not that the theme of heroism coming from anywhere is not cool, but the problem is that you need to make it work not just on a thematic level, but on a character level. This is a written piece of fiction, and thus an author has control over each and every part of it. And when you have a scene where your deuteragonist is going to be brought back to life, which is a huge deal and a huge stretch within the fiction of your story anyway, because my hero has made such a big deal out of injury and death, you need to tie it into something pretty profound and affecting and engaging. You can't just go, oh well, a random guy saved him, hooray for heroism, because that is just not satisfactory. Again, Edgeshot didn't need to be Bakugou's best friend.
So essentially, yeah, we do come down to a matter. We came to a similar point. Execution matters. Because he did a very good, like, example with John Reviver. Like, that was a good point. Like, people would be annoyed with that if that happened. But because Edgeshot was in, like, 20 chapters beforehand with, like, 3 lines per chapter, suddenly that makes it okay. Even though Edgeshot is, in the grand scheme of things, a D-list character? I'd say A-list main characters, B-list side characters. The only thing lower than Edgeshot is literally background characters. I'd say the star guy who showed up in chapter 1 and then convinced the public to let Midoriya come into UA is more of a character with more history and more relevance to the narrative than Edgeshot.
Or whatever. He just needed to be an actual character. This is even more frustrating when Best Jeanist is right there.
Yeah. Though admittedly, I don't know how he would have written Bakugou.
A guy who actually has a relationship with Bakugou. Now, I would say Best Jeanist is by himself even not enough at this point. We haven't seen enough of him with Bakugou, but
Yeah, I think they've interacted, but the last major interaction they had was literally just now, in the midst of this fight, and hundreds of chapters ago, because like that was way back in the Stain arc. This is the last time we saw those two have an actual interaction, and for the most part, it was just filler. Like I think we may have saw 3 panels of it. I'm not sure there was never a chapter based around it. There's no real relationship between the two. We just can infer there is one based on their interactions as of recent.
The fact that they had this internship and that Jeanist was so invested in Bakugou becoming a better hero would have been pretty good to then have this tie into how he would save Bakugou and how he would sacrifice himself. But no, instead is this complete random character that we haven't seen in ages and have frankly never seen do anything impactful or interesting. And he just comes in and gets this absolutely ridiculous power-up. I don't even know if you want to call it a power-up or just a
like button, freeze, and subscribe button.
Weird power application, and goes, don't worry bro, I got this, tell my wife I love her. So now that we're here, let's talk about how exactly he plans to revive Bakugou. Edgeshot's quirk, Fold a Body, allows him to turn himself into string, go around surfaces, flatten himself against walls, and yes, even enter people's bodies. We have seen him do that before. The problem is that all we've seen him do ever is pierce people's bodies and then knock them out by piercing a vital organ or whatever. That's, believable based on what we know about his quirk. But the idea that he's now gonna turn into a bunch of strings that will perfectly replace the rest of Bakugou's heart and make it pump, especially when the heart wasn't like dissected surgically and you know exactly which parts are missing, but it exploded.
Detonated. That thing was it happened. It was such a drastic thing that upon first reading it, I couldn't even tell what happened. That's how badly his heart was annihilated.
Randomly. That's a little, dumb. That's actually very dumb. Because, A, how does Edgeshot even know how to do this? How does he know he can do this? Because he says that he cannot come back from this. This is in general the problem with abilities that activate only by Because in fiction, they are often a crutch that asks you to not ask too many questions. The prime one being,
how do you know how to do this is the prime one. And also, yeah, that's the thing. And usually, like, the simpler the death ability is, the better, right? Like, say your big death ability is, oh, I am literally going to detonate all the energy within my body and explode it around everywhere. That's easy. That makes sense. Especially in, like, the biggest thing I can think of, Vegeta's final explosion in Dragon Ball, right? All he did, expel all the ki out of his body. Why there was a stone statue there afterwards? I don't know. But still, it's a simple thing. We know ki projection is a thing. It's what everyone can do. So expelling out all your ki with something we know that kills you would make sense as a final big last resort death attack. It's not too complicated to figure out how that would work. Let me think. It's not a death attack though. It's just a remove my powers attack. I'm trying to think of another big go die attack. Fraudron's detonation in Seven Deadly Sins. All that is just final explosion again. Like, oh, I know I will die because I'm only going to blow my body apart by using all the magic within it. But once again, magic projection is something that we know beings can do in the verse. And we know if you run out of magic, you could hypothetically die. So Fraudron doing a big final explode attack, it makes sense why he knows it would work, and it makes sense why he could do it. It does not make you ask too many questions because it's just a big boom boom. Turning yourself into an organ that pumps blood, even though you don't know, like, you don't know the size of the heart, you don't know if there's any special properties to it because of Bakugou's quirk specifically, you don't know anything, like, the number of variables that come in and the amount of things one would have to think about upon simply the suggestion that you're going to become someone else's heart. Huh? And it's like the gap in questioning just widens so much, and since you can't really, like, I can't make sense of it, I can't think of how Edgeshot is going to manually pump his heart with his bot. Like, I don't know. Like, the thing is, I can't even begin to go into specifics. It just seems so confusing, and that's the big issue that he's bringing up here. But let's hop right back into it. I'm sorry, I hadn't spoken for a little bit, so I was feeling like I was just video stealing. I hate to do this. I like to speak.
How the hell do you figure that one out? So presumably what a lot of people are assuming is gonna happen, and what I believe also is the most likely way this is going to be explained, is that Edgeshot is going to just turn himself into a mass of strengths within Bakugou's body, which will then allow Genist to form them into the heart shape.
But since when could Genist manipulate people? He can manipulate clothes, fibers, threads. Playa Body doesn't suddenly make Edgeshot inhuman. He's still a guy. He's just a string guy, I guess. Like, here's the thing. Bending from Avatar. I don't think we ever saw a waterbender bend lava, even though lava is a liquid. Because, fundamentally, it still is Earth. We haven't seen a firebender bend lava, even though lava is hot. Because even though lava is liquid rock, it still is rock. So suddenly Genist, the fiberbender, being able to bend a person, seems a little bit off-brand, like a little bit, like something tells me that's not necessarily the norm. That's not supposed to happen. So it feels rule-breaking in of itself. I don't know what that last word was. I'm sorry. But that's the thing. I don't really see how this could work. That may be a second point.
And then Edgeshot, somehow, either still alive or posthumously, will start pumping the heart. But again, this doesn't save it from being incredibly stupid. Because why would Best Genist know which places of the heart to replace? And how would a heavily damaged, injured, or maybe dead Edgeshot pump Bakugou's heart exactly right to keep him alive? Not to mention, what about the destroyed nerves, the ribs, the other injuries Bakugou has? Just repairing his heart is not going to stop him from dying at this point, especially since he's been dead for at least a minute or two now. But also, really? You had this ability up your sleeve the entire time? This big ace in the hole with your childhood friend that can literally bring people back from the dead, apparently, and the first time you choose to use it is on a kid? You know, you've had other heroes get injured and maimed in ways that were pretty brutal and not quite as bad. And you chose to be like, no, I'm just gonna sacrifice myself to replace this dumb kid's heart. And again, I know the counter arguments already that, oh, it's established, you can go into people's bodies, yada yada. Look,
So
piercing an organ to knock someone out and trying to replicate the broken parts of an organ and then having it function perpetually and accurately are two very different things, and I simply do not accept that you can equate them. This is a completely out of nowhere ability that Edgeshot has that only relates to his power set very marginally, and thus it is something we call a dumb plot contrivance. Not to mention, it is paired with one of the cheapest and most
Okay, so he didn't even touch on the fact that that shouldn't be a best genius thing to do. Like, so we came up with 3 different points, and yes, but it was, but Horikoshi, he foreshadowed it. Okay, still not the same. Like, that's a different level of foreshadow. Like how would I, like, I need a drastic difference. Like, say I told you one day, I have the capability to, let's just say, light my finger on fire. Doesn't hurt me, whatever, I can just light my finger on fire. Then, like, 5 years down the line, I come to you, and then my whole body's on fire, and I use my now burning body to go replace the sun. Does it count? Is that okay? Because I foreshadowed it 5 years ago? Does that really make sense? Is it okay? Because that's essentially what Edgeshot did. 2 completely unrelated functions. He can fold his body downwards to pierce people's organs, to knock them out, versus becoming an entire organ to posthumously pump blood. I know I became the sun when I only had a fire finger, and he went from becoming somewhat string to becoming a heart. But still, I'd say that's about the same realm of believability and credibility in terms of foreshadowing. So yeah, I don't buy the whole foreshadowing argument. Seems a little bit nutty.
Honest ways of handling a character I have seen in this series. Again, Edgeshot, complete nobody, comes in about how he's not gonna let Bakugou die because of his ninja pride. And then you just get this little panel of him and Genius being friends, and he goes, I can trust you, class president. And look, I get what he's trying to do. He's trying to give us that quick little glimpse of a character that is about to die. But holy, you should have done this earlier.
Language. And it doesn't work. Like, it's so I love Demon Slayer, right? Like, it's a very simple manga. I love the designs, love the characters, love the things. But one of my biggest issues, right, is that they always show us flashbacks post-mortem. Like I'm supposed to care retroactively. Why not show me the flashbacks beforehand? Why not go in chronological order? I get you can't go in chronological order sometimes because a narrative begins after a point where a flashback would end. But in cases like this, you whiffle teasing me, and there's a big issue I have with Demon Slayer and I have here. You give me a whiff, a taste of what could have been of this character, rarely does anything for me to care about the character post-mortem. Or mid-mortem, I suppose, because Edgeshot hasn't died just yet. But still, it's the same case of too little too late. Like, the like button is free and so is the subscribe button, but it's also too little too late for me to tell you that after you watch the video. Like, if I were to come knock on your door later and be like, oh, by the way, that video you watched 3 hours ago, you know the like button and subscribe button are free on that? And you were like, okay. Why do you have to tell me that now? Because it's over. Like, it doesn't matter. So that's the same issue here. That's how I view it. Oh, sorry, I know I tied that into a plug, but
I get what he's trying to do. He's trying to give us that quick little glimpse of a character that is about to die.
The whiff, the taste.
You should have done this earlier.
Language.
You should have made Edgeshot an actual character. not someone on par with Endeavor or Bakugou. Just have him be in the actual series more often. Maybe mention beforehand that him and Best Genius were classmates, because that's also new information, and then use this scene to refer back to that pre-work. Because the way this is now, it feels like an author waving his hands going, guys, look, the guy who's about to die was actually a person. Isn't that cool? No, it's not cool. It's weird and really, really stupid. Again, to reiterate.
And the thing is, right, proper foreshadowing, proper build up to Edgeshot would make this feel like it came less out of left field. The reason me, Oceans, and a lot of other people are calling Edgeshot a random is because, for that fact alone, he didn't show up. Bro wasn't in the narrative. That is the purest, basic, and most simple definition of a random. Someone who just wasn't there. And he wasn't. He wasn't there at all. He was there for a couple times, and he showed up, and that was it. So, just more presence is better. And it would make this feel less out of nowhere. But the reason it feels like Edgeshot came right out of nowhere, and what it reads as, at least to me, I'm not sure about Ocean, but what it reads to me as is, oh, you didn't plan this out. You needed some way to revive Bakugou after you just decided to off him for some reason. Again. And since you didn't have access to the magic hospital, you decided to get access to a magic character. It doesn't feel like something that was well established. It doesn't feel like something that was well built up. Even if I were to somehow excuse the fact that you're reviving Bakugou for no reason at all, it makes you, as a writer, look lazy. Like you just didn't think through. You didn't think it through. You didn't plan it out. You're sacrificing a random because the random happened to exist. But that's it. It comes off as lazy and disingenuous. At least to me, though. At least to me.
Having themes and having a sort of core ideal within your series is good. It's imperative, I would say. But you should not just let everything else fall to the side and just commit to feeding into those themes at all costs.
Looking at you, Dragon Ball Super.
This scene, by itself, on paper, does feed into the theme of heroism, of someone just saving someone else for no other reason than it's the right thing to do, but it completely fails on a character level because A, Edgeshot is a nobody, B, all we get on him is contained entirely within this scene, making this less of an actual character moment and more of a dumb moment. C, not only is he a nothing character, he's a character who up to the point where he shows us his flashback has not mattered to anyone, including the characters in this scene. What's especially frustrating here is that
It's true. And once again, the question always comes back to who is Edgeshot? No one has an answer for that. And you never will. Because it's not there. It's not there. Like, this isn't something where, like, I could send you off into a mystical, magical adventure and, like, go reread the series and it'll make it more fulfilling. No. It's this. And I know I'm going to get some under people's skin with this. But to me, Edgeshot has the midnight problem. And Night Eye is different. I feel like Night Eye was just a waste. But the midnight problem, where I know there's at least like 3 whole Edge, oh man. I almost said Shadow the Hedgehog. But there are at least 3 Edgeshot fans out there that latched onto his cool character design and thought his ability was really, really cool. And out of the millions upon millions of people who read My Hero Academia, they are in shambles right now. They are breaking down this year because their favorite character is going away. But their favorite character isn't a character. It's a cool design. That's all you're going to get. And that's the same issue I had with Midnight. Except I didn't think your design was cool. So there you go. I don't know. Feels a little bit of an issue. We'll see.
Hero has done a good, a nobody saves a named character moment before with Crust. Crust was arguably a bigger nobody than Edgeshot. He got about 2 speaking panels before he actually croaked, but his death is pretty cool. No weird pretentious dialogue, no one panel quick flashback that tries to convince us he was actually super important to everyone around him. Just no gaslighting about who this character was and is. Just an acceptance that this random nobody was at the right place in the right time and shoved Aizawa out of danger and then chose to do that instead of saving himself. going out in the process, dying with a heroic smile. That's how you feed into your themes while still respecting the audience's intelligence.
Okay, I can see that. Personally, Crest Death I didn't care about. Actually, I always forget about it until I hear someone else mention it. I forget about who Crust is, but he's right. Because that is, and I get where he's going to probably go with this. It is true. By feeding us that one panel, by giving us that, hey, look, Edgeshot was a character, guys, we promise. It does make us feel like you are trying, like, every story's goal is to emotionally manipulate you. Plot twist. A story, an author usually has some sort of intent when they write the narrative. They probably want to make you happy, make you feel sad, make you feel fulfilled. Every author is trying to get in your head, manipulate you. That's my society. But like, the difference is you can manipulate somebody well to the point where they don't even realize they're being manipulated, and like they'll have moments where they look back and they'll like be like, "Whoa, I've been manipulated," and like that's good. Like, Fortnite to the Apocalypse is a series that I read and review weekly. And the thing is, there are multiple times where I will sit back and like straight up acknowledge I'm being manipulated. Like, I know this is fact, but the way I was manipulated doesn't get me annoyed. But Oceans is right here by throwing in that flashback, by doing that little extra bit to try and make this non-character, make this nobody a somebody in some Kingdom Hearts type beat. You end up failing because it ends up making you look at it's like babying your readers. Like, hey guys, don't worry, you should care here. Let me try and make you care. Let me try and help you care. Okay? Yeah, you nice and sad now? No. It annoys us. So he brings up a very good point with the comparison to Crest Death. I like that. That is a fire point. This one. Yeah. My Ocean's a quality YouTuber. If you somehow don't watch him, go watch him.
Imagine if this scene had instead had Crust give a big speech about how much he loves Aizawa and how much he needs to save him, and then we get a panel of him and Aizawa hanging out as buddies when they were younger, and then he saves Aizawa and he has this big cliffhanger moment. Like, no, that's not how you do it, because that inherently clashes with the idea that this character is, well, a nobody. Instead, it's quiet, it's understated. It is just a simple act of heroism. And most importantly, for this case, it is completely within his power set, because he doesn't develop a completely new ability. He uses shield thingy, a quirk, to sever one of the arms of the Nomu that was holding Aizawa. So, no contrivances, no gaslighting, no weird pretentiousness, just a nameless character saving another character because it's the right thing to do. Just a quick more things that are very annoying about this moment before we go. I've seen a lot of people talk about that, oh, clearly this is a setup, this is gonna fail, they're not gonna manage to bring him back. Which, I get what you're trying to say, but I'm not sure if that makes the moment worse or better.
It makes it worse, because it feels like you're well, I'm not sure what he's gonna say, but at least to me, it makes it worse. You're wasting our time. And like, it's weird, right? Because every manga wastes your time. You do not need to read manga. Unless it's your job. Then keep on reading that manga. But if this really is just a fake out, and like, oh, sorry, you couldn't bring him back. We tried it though. Huh? It like, if pandering to your readers is a slap in the face, or trying to directly manipulate your readers is a slap in the face, then doing something like that, taking a risk like that and wasting our time, while after trying to manipulate us openly, you might as well just punch me in the jaw. Like at least to me, I would, and that's the crazy thing is, right? Horikoshi's in a you lose, you win, but you don't win, and you win, but you don't win. Like, you lose scenario, because you bring Bakugou back, and I wonder why you brought him back, because it's a waste of time and a waste of character. You don't bring Bakugou back, I wonder why you wasted the time to even do that. Like, you could have had other panel space. You're running, like, the thing is, a big issue now with this series end on the horizon. I can see it now. I see it. It's always been inside of me. Possibility never ended. I'm sorry. Don't know why Unleash came over me. But the thing is, Horikoshi, you are eating up precious panel time, my boy. It's what, August? And you got September, October, November, December. You got 4 months if you want to end in this year. That is At best, say you post every single week, that's 16 chapters, dog. You gonna end the narrative in 16 chapters? Really? You're trying to end it this year? Let's say it goes on to early March. And end of March. We'll double it. We'll give him, let's say it goes all the way to April, right? We'll give him 8 months. 8 thick ones. One, we know that's not gonna happen all the way. But you really gonna end the series in a solid, juicy 48 wait, am I done? 4 times 8. I'm sorry, I'm so stupid. 32 chapters. You really got to end the series in 32 chapters. Like, that's the thing. So if you waste time here, it just takes away from whatever you could have done to try and salvage the ending of your manga, which you can't. Like, I hate to say it, you can't. But I don't know. That's the thing. It's going to be a train wreck. But now all Horikoshi is doing is that he's in the front of the train trying to make the wreck not look too ugly. So by wasting time like this, not only are you disrespecting your reader even more, but on top of that, you're wasting precious time. But let's tell them about that.
Because think about it. If that genuinely does happen, if they fail to revive Bakugou, Edgeshot dies for nothing, Shigaraki interrupts the whole thing, what was the point of all of this? What was the point of this entire song and dance about, oh, I'm gonna become his heart, and oh, look at me, I'm such a hero, if it's just not gonna go anywhere? It's their way to the story in that case. It's wasting our time. And it characterizes My Hero, further characterizes it, I should say, as a story that has now completely given up on trying to be elegant in its storytelling and is simply concerned with doing cool cliffhangers to drive up reader numbers.
Language.
I don't think that's a better outcome than if this works. Yeah. I think they're both about equally. Because if this works, congratulations. All stakes and all believability of the story is completely gone. If it doesn't work, congratulations, you've wasted everyone's time and pretty much confirmed to everyone that you're not actually concerned with making a good story, you just want cool cliffhangers that lead absolutely nowhere. And if it does work, if they really manage to pull off a highly risky revival in the middle of the war while the big boss is right in front of them, does it make the heroes look like idiots and the villains look incompetent? Because are you, as Shigaraki, gonna let this happen? You, as Edgeshot, look at where you are and think, yeah, this is a good idea, let's do this. There's just so much happening in this scene that it's kind of baffling, but I'm also really happy that it happened. The reactions I've seen over this weekend have definitely confirmed to me that I am not insane. This story has gotten worse, and I am very glad that we have a moment like this that really perfectly encapsulates just how dumb this series can get at times. A major character dies and is then revived by a nobody character getting a random power-up and dying in the process in order to have him be revived again is a perfect metaphor of how My Hero has been written for the last 2 or so years. And while that does suck, I think I've just grown to accept it. As I said, I wasn't really planning on making another video on My Hero, but, you know, this was too good to pass up. Anyway, thank you for watching and thank you for putting up with. As I said, I am just in awe at this series at this point, so I really am sorry that I keep bringing down the vibe, but this is a series I loved for so long, and seeing it go down this road has drained me. But either way, thank you for your support, and a special thank you to all our patrons, of course, including Fiction Ape, Cini, Eric Nelson, Gio, Jameson Tate, Jostua, Ludenther, Mr. Meander, Paracha, Peroskoko, Project Iceman, That's Just Ash, and Wisdom Minari. I'll see you all around, and I hope you have a good week.
Alright, got him to the full 18-13. So, Oceans was spitting. Oh no. The sun's in the sky. What a shock. Nah, but super good video. Once again, I love the conversational style videos. Wish you did more of these. I'm not sure. Once again, I'm not sure if Oceans watches this. I'm not sure. He commented on the last one. So there may be hope. But yeah, I understand that. Like, it's just a feeling of like lethargy at this point. Like, we're kind of just reading it because we're in too deep. Like, we aren't much so there for what's currently happening. We're there for what has happened in the past. And while that is sad, that is what it all has come to. However, thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember to go check out the original video. Go get, once again, he's massive, but go get the views up. Go comment on the video. In fact, if you are here and you are part of my subscriber base, go over there and comment, pencil sent you, or whatever. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Actually, thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember to like, share, comment, subscribe. Make sure you guys also hit that little notification bell so you miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do a Patreon of my own down below, where you support for as low as $1 a month. It gets some exclusive videos, early content, and more. Thank you so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is That Guy with the Pencil, writing off.